Okay, so we'll keep our focus on that matter for a start today on the program. Let's go to Markway now.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. I have with me Mr. Emmanuel Anene, who is a legal practitioner. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, very quickly, the Chibok girls, 82 of them have been released. They were released on, we heard the news on Saturday night, and we saw them in Abuja on Sunday. What is your take on the return of these girls?
You see, we have to take the issues to proper perspective. When Chibok abduction took place around April 14, 2014, there were stories that never added anything. Now, first of all, the principal of the school said 129 students were abducted. Now, after some time, she came up with 230 students were abducted. Now, after some time, the Commissioner for Education said 274 were abducted. Now, after some time, President Jonathan set up a committee that went to Chibok. They came up with 276 students that were abducted. Now, they say 57 escaped. Now, taking it down to 219. So the issue is this. The principal of a school does not know the number of students abducted. And how did they arrive at these figures? How they arrived at these figures is they made an announcement and asked the parents or the relatives of the students of that school, if your ward is missing or has not returned, you will come and report. That, for me, is a very funny way of gathering information. Now, to make matter worse, they say 57.
I'm sorry, you're taking us back to...
No, we have to bring it, we have to bring the issues to proper perspective.
You're taking us back to 3 years ago.
No, but it still follows. We have to understand where we're coming from so that we'll understand why we are here now. Now, that was the reason. 57 escaped from Boko Haram captivity. Now, the DPO of that Chibok told the whole world that his men engaged these terrorists for 5 hours. And when the incident took place, it was around 11 p.m. From 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. And none of the policemen were injured. None of the Chibok students were injured or shot dead. Now, one of the first escapee after this 57 told Nigerians that the girls were hiding in Sambisa. Our gallant military sacked Sambisa forest, organized a shooting match in Sambisa, and none of the girls were found. Now, we were told that 21 Chibok girls returned. That was the first batch. Now, the question is this. The Bring Back Our Girls movement have been on the neck of the government to release these girls. The Bring Back Our Girls movement have not been able to interact with them. The media has not been able to interact with them. Now, we're also told before last week that they don't have any idea or clue about the whereabouts of the Chibok girls. Now, all of a sudden, 82 returned. Now, the question is this. Why are they keeping these children? I'm
sorry, who said what last week?
I said before last week, before the release, the military said they don't have the whereabouts of the Chibok girls. Now, these girls returned on Saturday, and they were brought to Abuja here. Bring Back Our Girls movement. They don't have access to them. Even the media, they don't have access to them to ask them questions. And, from video clips we're watching, these girls were speaking in Hausa, and they're writing WAEC. And WAEC is not written in vernacular. So these are the issues that is bothering some of us.
So your point is what, precisely?
My point is that, number one, the stories do not add up. We were told that 530 students were writing WAEC. 129 were writing science.
The stories do not add up, which means what?
If the stories do not add up, that is why people are doubting it. And people are doubting it. And they have the reasons, good reasons, to doubt the authenticity of the story.
So you doubt?
Now, when you look at it,
I need to get your point very clearly. You doubt. You're definitely one of those who doubt the authenticity of the story.
As a lawyer, I'm trying to interrogate the facts.
I'm just asking, you're interrogating the fact from what perspective? From the perspective of someone who doubts, or from the perspective of someone who believes?
No, from the perspective of the fact that the stories do not add up. It's not believable. If you take these stories to court, it will fail. And that is why people are failing in court.
So are you saying then that, you know, the president who set up a committee to investigate whether or not, you know, the girls were taken, how many were taken, and the circumstances under which they were taken, his committee came up with a lie?
No, it's in the first place, Mr. President does not need to set up a committee to find out how many girls were missing. The number of students are ascertainable. It's not as if to say the abduction took place in society.
No, the fact of the matter remains that the president, then President Goodluck Jonathan, did set up that committee. And this was after lots of controversy had raged on whether or not girls were indeed taken. And the committee found out something, that the girls were indeed taken.
The committee found out that...
You have an alternative fact to that?
No, the committee, I'm working on the committee report. In the first place,
You're
like
working
I said...
on the committee report?
Yes, that is what I'm saying now.
In what instance?
Now, in the first instance, President Jonathan did not set up a committee to find out how many girls were missing. They were writing WAEC. The principal is the person in authority. The principal should be telling us who was missing or who was not missing, or who returned or who was not found. The numbers are ascertainable. So for me, the committee was set up. It's a surplusage. Now, the committee went to Chibok. The Chibok committee refused to cooperate with them. That was what we were told. Now, how did the committee set up by President Jonathan find out 76 girls were missing? How? It was from the same old style of gathering information, telling the committee to come and, you know, tell them who returned or who did not return. At the end of the day, it was 76. Now, the Commissioner for Education, the then Commissioner for Education, told us that it was 74. So, who do we believe? At the end of the day, it's 219.
So, your point precisely is that perhaps the entire community of Chibok could be lying that their girls are missing.
No, I'm not saying they're lying. But I'm saying is this. Even the third Chibok community has not been able, they didn't cooperate with the presidential committee set up by President Jonathan. So why didn't they cooperate with them?
You say, first of all, that he need not have set up that committee.
Yes.
The committee was set up anyway. At the end of the day, the committee, whether or not they got cooperation from Chibok, came out and said that, you know, girls were indeed missing. Yet, you still have cause to doubt.
Now, why we have cause to doubt is this, in the first place. The principal, like I said earlier, is the person in authority. These guys were writing WAEC.
So we should simply have taken the principal at her word, and that would have been that.
Exactly. Principal is the man in authority. You don't need to set up a committee to find out who was missing or who was not missing in school. All of us went to secondary school.
Okay, so
now,
assuming the principal came out and said that, you know, girls were indeed missing.
The principal said,